So it's a new tax regime in the country. We have that approval now to that executive order. So we hope to see how that is implemented. And I think, as Mr. Yedili continuously says, streamlining the system so we don't have leakages also in the midst of all of this. Now let's talk about cocoa. In mid-April, cocoa prices reached an all-time high of about 11,461 for metric ton. Unfortunately, here in Nigeria, a lot of farmers could not benefit from that. But now that has changed. There was shortage then, there was adverse weather, and then there was the disease in Ghana and all of that. But that has changed now. There's been a 36% decline from that all-time high in April. Let's find out more about this and perhaps see what our farmers are coping with an issue such as this. And joining us for that conversation is Oluwaseun Lawal. Oluwaseun Lawal is an analyst with Financial Derivatives Company. Hi, Oluwaseun. Good afternoon.
Hi, Hini. Thank you for having me.
Great. So what's causing this decline? What has happened? The weather is better now. We have more supply.
Let us first examine the trend back from January 2023, where cocoa traded for around $2,600. And then fast forward to January in 2024, where it traded at about $4,500 per metric ton before going to around 12,000 in April, which was driven by adverse weather conditions in cocoa producing regions of West Africa. And then the announcement by EU that they would stop patronizing countries who are seen to use child labor and women labor in the production of cocoa. So now the prices are falling because the weather is better, and that is sending signal to the market that supply is going to increase soon. So traders are now selling off future contract on cocoa, and then those massive sell-offs are translating to the market and the prices are coming down. So that is why you see the decline, the 36% decline from the all-time high to what we have now, which is around $7,200 per metric ton.
I mean, the thing is, even when the price was surging in Nigeria, farmers could not optimize that opportunity. So I wonder what's happening to them now.
The truth is that when you examine the value chain of cocoa production in Africa generally, let's take example, Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast produces like 40% of the world cocoa production. However, their earnings from the whole production, the value chain is like 4%. So that would explain why farmers are still kept poor, because most of the money that comes from the value chain does not go to the farmers. It goes to people who are producing the chocolates in Europe and then even exporting them to Africa. And we have to pay out of our money, to buy those things. So, but then this decline in price does not exactly change anything when it comes to the value chain. We need to look inwards, see how we can improve infrastructure to capture more of the value chain, process our cocoa ourselves, convert it into chocolate, and see if we can export them out of the country and to capture more of the value chain.
Yeah, so what do we see in the coming months? We know that weather is a major threat to the supply of cocoa, and of course, once that comes in, it also affects the supply and then the price. What do we see in the coming months, remaining months of the year?
Well, in the coming months, there are different aspects that will determine what will happen. So we have the supply side and we have the demand side. On the demand side, demand is expected to increase towards the end of the year. Number one, inflation is dropping in major economies, especially US, which is the number one consumer of cocoa. So what that means is that purchasing power of consumers is going up. They have more money to buy these things. And then festive seasons also affect the price of cocoa. In US, they have Halloween in October 31st. And one of the major periods that peak demand for cocoa is during festive period. So chocolates are one of the items that people give away. And then we have the Christmas season coming. So demand is expected to rise. And when demand is rising, if there is no corresponding increase in the supply of cocoa, so it might affect the price. And then the factors that are affecting the supply of cocoa are still very potent. weather conditions are still relatively unstable. EU regulations are still very much there. And then we have information that COPEC, there may be establishment of a cartel for cocoa exporting countries. So if that happens, that means prices of cocoa will be more regulated, and then those things will feed into what we see in the near term, in the coming months.
Yeah, and we do hope that in the midst of all of this, that if Nigeria can actually boost its supply, then we can also be, a major player, whether it's COPEC or in OPEC, instead of just being moved around. But thank you so much for your time and sharing your views. Oluwaseun Lawal, analyst with Financial Derivatives Company.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll head to the market, and other stories await you on the other side of Business Incorporated. Stay with us. Oh, just before we go on that break, for our DSTV viewers, we have to lead you to Abuja now, where there's going to be an official flag-off ceremony of the construction of Kugbo Bus Terminal. It's continuation of the work of the FCT Minister, Minister Wike. He's been busy. He was on yesterday, so it's a continuation of that. But for our viewers on other platforms, we'll see you after the break.